Hi, this is Denise Matthew, and this is part two of the transits until taking us to the end of 2021. And I hope everybody's looking forward to the new year and hopefully some new energy. As I said, I feel like it's going to be a good new year. And if you haven't looked at part one, I gave a little sneak preview of what we're going to potentially expect for 2022. So we begin the week with the sun in the gate 58. And also, and I talked a lot about that last week. So if you want to refer back to that video, you can just check that out and see what I said about that. And we also have the Earth in the gate 52. So we have the 952 channel activated for a couple more days. It will be activated until December 30th, and that's when Mars will move into the gate 5. And like I said, this will be when we're kind of connecting into the patterns that we were focusing on and concentrating on with the 952 channel, and trying to look at some routines that we want to bring into our life going forward into 2022. So new routines that we want to bring into our life that we think will work for us. This is also going with our own personal flow. And I've said this before because we did talk about the gate 5 quite a bit when we had other planets transiting through it. It is this idea of being in your own personal flow, because when we're in our own personal flow, that's where all the opportunities are for us. If we're actually going to the flow of other people, then we're in their flow, and that's where their opportunities are, but not necessarily ours. So this is about kind of connecting with your own flow, your own pattern, to understand where you want to go in the future. And that is what Mars will be showing us. I'll talk about a little bit more about that in a minute. On December 31st, we are going to have the sun moving into the gate 38, and we have the Earth moving into the gate 39. And if you look at the connection between these two energies, we have the gate 38 where, like I said last week, we're talking about this idea of Venus connecting with this energy a lot. We have Mercury was connecting with this energy last week, and this is, talking about what are the worthy fights, what are the things we want to stand for, what are the things that we don't care to stand for because it's not worth our while. And this is just deciding where we want to go, what things are important to us and what things are not. And when we look at the gate 39, we're also looking at this idea of grounding into this provocation, being provoked into the right fights, being provoked into fighting the good fight because you know that this is right for you. Now, when we look at the gate 39, we know that this is half of the channel of the 3955, which we will be having the full channel, the 3955, when Jupiter moves into the gate 55. But this is also saying what worthy fights will provoke that spirit within you, that abundance of spirit, that you're showing your individuality to the world, because you know that if you fight this important fight for yourself, or you stand for this cause that is important to you, then this is going to allow your spirit to flow and grow, because you are allowing yourself to stand in your integrity, stand in your truth, and be exactly who you are, despite what other people say. This is not being troubled by people telling you that is not worthwhile. You deciding what's worthwhile and letting all the rest of it go. So that's what this energy is really speaking about. And this will be coming into play when we have the full moon on January 2nd. I'll talk about that in a few minutes as well. On December 30th, 31st, Mercury moves into the gate 16. Mercury's not necessarily happy in this energy. So there could be just not really wanting to have the limitations. So what we might see is a lot of people talking about they don't want the limitations. They don't want to work with the limitations. They want to push against it. I want to be able to do exactly what I want to do. I don't want anybody telling me what I can and cannot do. That could be the kind of energy, the dynamic that we could be seeing in the media, but the communication, people are talking about this energy. The other perspective is that Mercury is it's in detriment in two lines. One is that being very restless with the limitations, not wanting to have the limitations, kind of wanting to break out of them, like I said, not wanting to compromise, to accept that this is the way it has to be potentially for now, and eventually it will change, but can you be okay with what's happening in this particular moment? Within this is this seed of this ability to maximize your potential within this limitation, to be able to find all the tools that you need to work with what you have in the moment, and to be able to be successful with what you have in the moment. So that energy is all there. You might see this duality out there where some people are saying, yeah, I can work within this. I can actually do what I need to do within this limitation. It's not ideal, but it is something I can work with. And then you also will potentially have people saying, I'm not going to work with this. I don't want this. And I'm going to push against this. with Saturn in the gate 19, this is sensitivity. And this is saying, you're not taking care of us. Why is this happening? And so there's this potential to have this idea of wanting to feeling that you're not being supported as an individual, not getting the things you need, and why are you being limited in those types of things. So if you can remember that the limitation is something that as soon as we get used to it, it usually kind of up levels us. That can potentially help you to see that the light is there. You may not see it right now, but eventually the light will come, things will open up, the doors will open again, and this limitation will be released. And that is a definite thing. Their limitation will be released, and that's how limitation works. It comes, and then eventually it moves on. And December 30th, Jupiter moves into the gate 55, which is going into Pisces energy. Like I said, this is Jupiter's home. This is where Jupiter's much happier. So when we look at the key words for this particular energy, abundance is strictly a question of spirit. So in other words, we look at this perspective of abundance, and this is like this surrender to the universal flow of energy, surrender to the universe taking care of us, surrender to the idea that we will be taken care of if we allow the universe to help us out. This is this idea of when you've done everything you can, you let go and you let the abundance come to you, and you will be taken care of by spirit. This is really this, especially with Jupiter there. I mean, like I said, it's exalted in two ways. This is working in cooperation with people who have a lot of ability to actually help out, to make things better, to increase the abundance of spirit. It can even mean like abundance, physical, like resources, money, those types of things. So working with the right people to increase your finances. So there's potential to meet the right people who can actually start to help you out financially to get ahead in life, those types of things. In many ways, we could look at this as money coming in, money coming from, pennies from heaven, you could say. How it happens is hard to say, but for some reason, this is saying that potentially pennies from heaven could come. We could have this windfall of something, and it will be all relative to who we are. Like some people, windfall could be, $50. That could be exactly what you need. And some people, it'll be more. There is some windfall that is for all of us. So what this is saying is that there could be luck and abundance kind of coming in at just at the last moment, you could say, unexpected abundance coming our way. And so, to me, that looks like a positive energy. When the Earth moves into the gate 39 on December 31st, this is going to bring us a full quantum channel. Now, this will be emotional energy. And this is also this creative flow of energy as well. This is like the creativity that we're starting to kind of get that spark of creativity and starting to think about the expansion, and this could be just this idea of looking at ways that we could be abundant in the future, of how we can start to bring in more abundance to us, bring more abundance to our life. Or it could, like I said, be some sort of a windfall that comes to us out of the blue that we hadn't expected. So this is kind of really looking at creative ways of how we're going to increase our finances, how we're going to increase our ability to move into the future, to have more prosperity for our own lives. But this perspective of melancholy is potential within this energy, melancholy or emotional highs and, the blues, and also the highs and lows of an emotional wave can come within this energy, because we do have the full 3955. This is an expression of authenticity. This is expression of our creative selves. This can be wanting to have a lot of good food, good drink, that type of thing, because the gate 55 can be all about that. It could be emotional eating or those types of things. So these are things to keep in mind. This is also a time where we're bringing in the new year. Maybe you want to have a sort of buffet, or you want to have a nice feast or something like that. So if we know that we have emotional ups and downs, this is where we want to kind of direct the energy of creative flow into something where we're feeling that we're actually directing our passion or creative flow, allowing the energy to flow through us rather than having it get stuck, wondering why we feel a certain way, as opposed to understanding this is part of the energy and it goes up and it goes down, and that's part of the flow. And if we are feeling that we have this level of melancholy, this is directing that melancholy into a creative endeavor where we're feeling that we're externalizing it as opposed to internalizing it. So that's kind of something that we want to keep in mind, that if we are feeling this melancholy, to creatively express ourselves in a way that it's being externalized, and understanding that this is a normal part of this energy, and this too shall pass. It will all kind of come and go. But there's this potential to be really connected with this need to want to express yourself in the way that you want to express yourself. And this could be tempers flaring as well. So it's something to keep in mind. Like, if you are in a situation where there's kind of an explosion of energy, where maybe some arguments or some, kind of heated exchanges, this is where we would break orc space, get out of that energy and move somewhere else. And as soon as that happens, usually it allows that kind of cooling off phase where nothing gets out of hand, because this is very passionate energy. And because it doesn't have access to the throat to express that energy, because it is emotional energy, it can sometimes feel like this building up of energy, and it needs to go somewhere. And that's why this creative flow is really important, but also knowing when to kind of disengage from an interaction if it's getting to a place where you're not feeling comfortable anymore. On January 2nd, we have a new moon happening. So the new moon is going to be happening in the gate 38, line 4. So whenever we look at line 4, we know that there is always this idea that we are stronger together as a unit. This is like social groups, or it's the people who will help you. This is opportunist energy. So it's just reminding us that when we are fighting the good fights, or we're kind of standing in our truth for the things that matter to us, when we have the support of others, then it's always going to work a little bit better, because we have, as they say, strength in numbers. This is just encouraging us to have strength in numbers. This is also, again, one more connection to this idea of the right fight and being provoked into the right fight, provoking our spirit. This is talking about being our authentic self, standing in our truth, standing in our integrity, but also having the support of other people. And I think the biggest key with this energy is this idea that we do have strength in numbers. It does bode for what looks like a nice new moon, where we're actually looking at who can be helpful to us going forward for the things that matter to us, and picking just the right time to provoke the spirit in people. So in other words, like this idea of when we are provoking people, the people that are not sort of bothered by us, but for some reason they kind of wake up a little bit when you are provoking them, but they're not actually angry with you, are the people that are right for you. But the people that are being provoked and irritated when you do something to sort of wake them up, or you provoke them in the spirit, are the people that are not necessarily your people. So this is just saying that waking people up, or you're provoking the spirit in people at just the right time, so that they are getting the most benefit, and they're actually supporting you for the things that you want to stand for in the future. Again, this is like a group energy, because we have the fourth line where it's talking about this opportunist, or this social group, or the people that are your group, the people that will support you, the people that you're most influential with. We also have Mars in the gate 5 and the fourth line as well. And this really talks to the idea of having the patterns of your life, or locking into the flow of your life that is actually going to bring you the most benefits. And that's what this energy is talking about with Mars there. It's just reminding us that being in the flow, and how that is beneficial for you to be in the flow of your life, and how you can have the right fights, the right provocations, and also the right opportunities that are specifically made for you, especially with Jupiter just moving into the gate 55, pointing the direction for where your abundance, where your prosperity is going to come from. And this is sort of emotional energy as well, but we could also look at it as a time for a spark of creativity that might kind of get lit within us, that we're starting to wake up the creativity that maybe was asleep for a while, where maybe we've had this block where we didn't feel that we could be creative. But this energy of the new moon might spark a creative flow, where we're moving into 2022 with this idea of, yes, I do have some creative ideas and expressions of where I want to go and what I want to do. And with Pluto in the gate 61, line 6, in exaltation, this is looking at the universal awareness, getting those downloads of what it all means, those big aha moments that kind of come out of nowhere and kind of point you in the direction of where you want to go. I would say in a lot of ways, this is a starting block for the beginning of the new year, going into the future, deciding where you want to go, where you want to direct your energy. If we look at the whole new moon, we see that almost all of it is mutative or individual energy, which in itself is creativity. So this is giving us this big infusion of creativity to go into the new year to work towards all the goals, opportunities, the abundance, the prosperity, the things that we want to bring into 2022 that maybe we didn't have an opportunity to bring into form last year. But we are finally having sort of, you could say, a clear path where things can start to be planted, the seeds can be planted, the things can start to grow, where you have an opportunity to see the seeds that you plant and how they flourish and bloom within 2022. So that's what I see for this new moon. I think it's going to be a pretty decent new moon. I think there could be some emotions within it. And when we see that those emotions are part of just being human and they will flow and allowing them to flow as they will, that I think this will be a very powerful and impactful new moon where we could have this potential to feel that there is hope for us all. There is a new beginning, and we can actually find something brand new that is made specifically for us in this brand new year. So that's it for the transits. I hope you have an amazing new year ahead, and you have the ability to tap into the creative flow and the abundance that is just waiting for you to tap into it. So that's all for now. Take care, and I'll see you again soon.